blessing. Grateful for the Lord's blessing. Ain't gonna stop, no, ain't no how. Grateful, yeah, I'm grateful. Grateful, yeah, I'm grateful. Oh Lord. Grateful, yeah, I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I ain't got no reason to be hateful. Hair and nails paid for. I'm so thankful. Put you through some things I know that was quite painful. Grateful, yeah, I'm grateful, yeah, I'm grateful. Yeah, God gave me everything that I prayed for. Just what I prayed for, oh Lord. Just what I prayed for, oh Lord. Grateful, yeah, grateful.
Said I'm grateful.
I'm so grateful, I'm grateful, oh Lord. Just what I prayed for. Just what I prayed for, oh Lord.
Head up, Toe, Mishpaka, Shimi, Akazia, Yisrael, Hayaneth, Matesha, Yehuda, Tehila, Yahweh, Ben Yahweh, Yahweh, Huha, Elohim, Shel, Yisrael. Praise Yahweh. Good afternoon, family. This is Akazia, Yisrael. Praise Yahweh and praise Yahweh, Ben Yahweh, the true God of Israel. Praise Yahweh. Before the foundation of time were measured and before the nations found their place upon the earth, there existed a court not built by human hands, a chamber of majesty where the truth does not bend, justice does not sleep, and every hidden matter is brought into the light. This is the celestial court of the eternal judge, seated upon the thrones of God Yahweh and Yahweh Ben Yahweh, where wisdom is enthroned above all earthly opinion, and righteousness speak with a voice that shakes both heaven and earth. Hebrews chapter 1 verse 3, who being the brightness of his glory and the express image of his persons, and upholding all things by the word of his power, when he had by himself purged our sins, sat down on the right hand of the majesty on high. In this divine tribunal, no rank, title, or earthly power can outweigh the decree of the Most High Yahweh. Kings stand as servants, elders answer as witnesses, and every soul is measured by the scale of holiness, obedience, and covenant. The throne is not merely a seat of authority. It is the center of divine order, the place where mercy and judgment meet, where the hidden record of man is open, and where the voice of God Yahweh establishes what no generation can overturn. This work enters that sacred vision with reverence, drawing the reader towards the mystery of the heavenly government and the weight of spiritual accountability. It calls the elders, the watchmen, and all who seek wisdom to behold a greater throne than the councils of man, the throne where the Ancient of Days Yahweh presides, where the judge of all creation renders truth without corruption, and where the destiny of nations and souls is declared before the living presence of God, Yud-Heh-Wah-Heh, Yahweh. The preface. There are writings that inform the mind, and there are writings that awaken the soul. This work is offered with the intentions of doing both. It invites the reader beyond the ordinary boundaries of thought into a higher chamber of contemplation, where wisdom is not merely studied but encountered, where judgment is not feared as darkness but understood as the brilliant order of divine truth. In these pages, the intellect is called to ascend, and the spirit is summoned to listen. Acacia writes from a place of reverence, urgency, and vision, seeking to stir the hidden faculties of the reader, of your mind, your memory, and your reason. The consciousness that longs for righteousness is the imagination that reaches for heaven, and the understanding that desires more than surface knowledge. The accountability and the mystery of elders standing beneath the authority of the throne of God Yahweh. Such a theme demands not casual reading, but sacred attention. May this preface open the gates of expectation. May it prepare the mind to reason deeply, the heart to burn with holy curiosity, and the soul to tremble with excitement before the vastness of what is being revealed. Let the reader enter not as a spectator, but as one summoned to witness a higher court, a greater wisdom, and a transcendent calling that reaches beyond time into the eternal counsel of the Most High Yahweh. Praise Yahweh. Chapter 1, Genesis chapter 10, verse 21, establishes an important interpretative foundation for understanding the title elder. Beyond the narrow limit of biological age, the verse reads, unto Shem also, the father of Eber, the brother of Japhet, the elder, even to him were children born. In the Hebrew text, the word rendered elder is connected to Gadol, a term associated with greatness, magnitude, prominence, rank, and distinction. Within many inherited Western theology frameworks, this expression has often been reduced to a question of age alone. Yet, the broader lexical range of Gadol requires a more careful reading. The term may certainly include the idea of being older, but it also carries the weight of superiority, eminence, greatness, high standing, and recognized importance. Therefore, the designation should not be treated merely as a chronological marker, but as a little more capable than that, as a title of communicating status, authority, inheritance, and conventional significance. When applied to the concept of eldership, Gadol invites the reader to consider a figure who is not simply advanced in years, but elevated in dignity and responsibility. The elder is one who occupies a position that is recognized weight within the household or the tribe, priesthood, and community. Such a person bears the marks of rank, wisdom, governance, and inheritance. He is entrusted with the preservation of order, the transmission of authority, and the representation of divine principles among the people. Thus, the title elder is more than a description of someone older than another. It is intertwined with the language of power, esteem, nobility, and sacred responsibility. To understand the blessed role of an elder, one must examine the attributes attached to greatness itself: rank, distinction, excellence, exceeding measure, and noble standing. Elder. One who holds senior rank or is recognized as an authority within a household, tribe, priest, elder. One who beholds senior rank or recognized authority within a household, tribe, priesthood, or community. In this sense, an elder may function as a chief, ruler, superior, counselor, or representative of the sacred order, including the dignity associated with the Melchizedek priesthood. Great deals with that which is unusual or considerable in degree, dealing with intelligence, power, intensity, and importance. Greatness includes excellence, significance, extraordinary, capacity, lofty character, chief standing, and the ability to carry consequences within the world. Exceedingly is a measure that surpasses the ordinary, that which exists to an unusual, extreme, or remarkable degree, right? It conveys intensity, abundance, and exceptional magnitude. Being an elder is someone of great character, noble even, distinguished by rank, title, character, or inheritance. Nobility, it implies an elevated standing of honorable conduct, recognized dignity, an association with a class or an office entrusted with social, political, and spiritual responsibility. You can't just be some old schmuck on the street who calls themselves an elder and be taken seriously. An elder, this title, you see, it keeps dealing with dignity, 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 accountability, responsibility. Is recognized and associated with having an honorable behavior. Your character almost seemed like an inheritance of the prophets of the past. But the elder is one who took the time to learn how to be honorable and to be comparable to the prophets. When you look at the definition of measure, it means to compare something or someone. It means to look at the preparedness of a person when you look up measure. So this person who is a judge or an elder is a person who studied the prophets and who was deeply inspired by the prophets, by Yahweh's word, and by the Son of Man, Yahweh ben Yahweh, to want to fulfill the same degree of knowledge and honorable character. This is a man or a woman who rank is a number of people forming a separate class in a social hierarchy or in any graded body. You heard me right. As I look at Deborah in the book of Judges, Deborah was powerful, a good judge, but she was moral. She was just. She didn't have the Eve mentality. Influence is having the capacity or the power of people or things to be a compelling force on or productive effect on the action and behavior and opinion of others. This is one who holds people accountable to the law. And this is a person who doesn't see that they are above the law, but they are truly subjected and show forth humility. Though they hold such high esteem of character, they are able to carry the consequences of such character within the world without being influenced and without depriving their morals. This is a person of extraordinary capacity. And though they have a truly lofty character, means up high character, that they are considered a chief, they also show the significance of being dignified. This is powerful. People of consequence. People of consequence. Yahweh told Moses to go and gather the elders of Israel together and deliberate a message unto them about the preposition of time and place, to discuss and be able to break down the preposition of the devised plan that would bring about the supposition of deliverance that do not need to be debated amongst each other, only require their obedience to the word of Yahweh for the deliverance. This plan was one with great consequence on both Israel and Egypt, but one that would build faith in the power of Yahweh quickly. The first point, Exodus chapter 3, verse 16. Go and gather the elders of Israel together, and say unto them, Yahweh, God of our fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, appeared unto me, saying, I, Yahweh ben Yahweh, have surely visited you, and seen which is done to you in Egypt. Now I know some will read this and debate me using the Son of Man's name here instead of Yahweh. But remember, we are talking about now in our lifetime, and the Bible clearly states that one should be raised up like unto Moses to do a more difficult work in a similar situation from the past. So me using Yahweh ben Yahweh's name here is just me calling your mind to this remembrance. Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 15. Yahweh thy God will raise up unto thee a prophet from the midst of thee, of thy brethren, like which determines a comparison unto me. Unto him ye shall hearken. This one will lead us in the way as described in Exodus chapter 23, verse 20 through 21. Behold, I Yahweh send an angel, Yahweh ben Yahweh, before thee, to keep thee in the way, and to bring thee into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgression, for my name Yahweh is in him. Yahweh ben Yahweh. Yahweh ben Yahweh is the angel who is here to lead us back into the word of truth. The first one to initiate the bringing back of culture. Through his magnetic influence, he sparked the light on the name Yahweh and made the etymology name of Yahweh by having it to be published in their media and broadcast throughout the country and world. He and he alone, through the persuading force of influence, brought back the following of the law of government, dietary, how to govern children, the high holy days, the laws of enterprise, and who to pay first and second. I'm talking about the great, good, and terrible black God Yahweh ben Yahweh, the one and only divine mind of the tribe of Yehuda, who demands we follow in his footsteps so that our spirits can collectively be witnessed with his spirit, granting us the influential divine guidance of Yahweh, proving to the world we are the sons and daughters of Yahweh, and if children, then heirs of God Yahweh, and co-heirs with Yahweh ben Yahweh. If so be that we are brave enough, the 144,000 elders who transcended to judges, whose ultimate transformation is collectively the 144,000, colloquially speaking, Godhead, will suffer with him that we may be glorified also together. Therefore, the conclusion of this matter is not merely admiration, but obligation. If Yahweh ben Yahweh has restored the remembrance of the name, revived the law of divine governance, and awakened the scattered children of Yahweh to the weight of their inheritance, then the response of the 144,000 elders must be disciplined and obedienced, spiritual courage, and collective elevation. The elders cannot remain passive before such a calling. He must become a living witness of order, law, wisdom, and holy influence. For to follow in this path is to accept the burden of divine rank, to stand as heirs under covenant, and to rise from knowledge into judgment, from judgment into authority, and from authority into glorification with the Spirit of Yahweh. Let's talk go and gather. Go in our Hebrew language means yalak, and it is a primitive root to walk, literally, as well as figuratively. It's to carry in various senses, like bear, bring, come, depart, flow, proser, pursue, and journey. Oh, and we'll go over a few of these because this will show us what Yahweh ben Yahweh took on his journey to gather the lost tribe and cause us to repossess our culture. Walk in our Hebrew language is also halak. And in our Hebrew language, it means a primitive root to walk in, literally or figuratively, but to behave self, to come on continuously and be conversant, to ease and enter, to exercise, and to follow the needs and be at the point. Is to pursue a course of action or a way of life. Is to conduct oneself, to stand with an appearance suggestive of strides, and to bring to a specified condition. So here we see walk in this essence is our behavior. We must walk the walk as well as talk the talk of morality. You can't be a do as I say and not as I do. We must be unison with having a unified dignity, an esteemed character, a righteous conduct, having a high degree of intelligence, as well as having the humility to be able to carry the consequences of the world. We are to be a unit, one in Yahweh. Gather is asaph in our Hebrew language, and it means to gather for any purpose, to receive and take away, to remove and assemble, destroy and leave behind, restore and recover. This is talking about substituting your character of immorality to morality, letting go of the old man, old woman mindset, and taking on the new man, new woman mindset. This is about letting go what is wrong and taking hold what is right, restoring yourself back to true Israel. Thus, when Yahweh commands that the elders be gathered, the instruction points to more than a physical assembly. It reveals a spiritual condition that must be completed through transformation, discipline, covenant readiness. To go and gather requires movement, correction, and the alteration of behavior. For Israel is called not merely to hear the word, but to walk in it. This is consistent with Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 12 to 13, which teaches that Yahweh requires his people to fear him, walk in his ways, love him, serve him, and keep his commandments. The gathering of the elders, therefore, begins with the gathering of the self, the purification of thought, the correction of conduct, and the awakening of the inner man to the divine presence of El, which is the power of the Elohim, the Most High, Yahweh. To become conversant in Yahweh's celestial order is to possess knowledge through both study and experience. The elder must maintain frequent association within the Word, meditating in it day and night, as Joshua chapter 1 verse 8, Psalms chapter 1 verse 2 commands, so that the law becomes fixed in the mouth and disciplined in the mind and established in the heart. This requires principal behaviors, inward purification, and building of memory concerning the laws, high holy days, solar time, emotional intelligence. Just wow. Romans chapter 12, verse 2 speaks of transformation by the renewing of the mind, while Psalm chapter 51, verse 10 asks for a clean heart and a right spirit. In this way, the elders learn to remain at ease by trusting in Yahweh. For chapter 18, verse 10, declares that the name of Yahweh is a strong tower into which the righteous run and are safe. Such discipline teaches the elders to speak to the El within people with wisdom, whether they appear joyful or troubled, and to enter the courts of Yahweh with praise, as Psalms 100, verse 4 instructs. The moral requirement of this calling is confirmed in Psalm chapter 15, verse 2, which identifies the acceptable servant as one who walks uprightly and works righteousness and speaks the truth in his heart, even when family or friend support turn away. The elder must continue pursuing Yahweh, for as it says in Psalms chapter 27, verse 10 and 11, declares that when father and mother forsake thee, Yahweh takes up the faithful and teaches his ways, leading them in a plain path. When Yahweh consciousness becomes fully formed, the desire of the servant is no longer self-direction, but divine instruction, and is to be taught, led, and corrected and made plain before the presence of Yahweh. This is how an association of faithful fellows is formed, Salika. A people seeking to reduplicate the will of Yahweh ben Yahweh with one mind, one heart, one love, and one action. Acts chapter 2 verse 1 witnesses the power of a people gathered in one accord. Philippians chapter 2 verse 2 calls for the same love and one mind. 1 Corinthians chapter 1 verse 10 commands that there be no division, but that the people be perfectly joined together in the same judgment. Only then can the elders teach true Israel with unity, authority, and spiritual precision, standing as a disciplined body prepared to manifest the will of Yahweh in the earth by fulfilling the word of Zephaniah chapter 3 verse 9. For then will I turn to the people a pure language, that they may call upon the name Yahweh ben Yahweh to serve him with one consent. I know we touched on elders a little earlier, but now we must look deeply into the spiritual weight of this title. The Hebrew word Zachin, which is the Strong's reference H2205, is commonly rendered elder, aged, ancient man, old man, or senator, showing that the word carries both the idea of maturity and the idea of recognized authority. The Hebrew letters for Zachin is looked upon in the esoteric knowledge, and we discover that Zachin is 7, Kof is 100, and Nun is 50, which equals to 157. Now, when we examine this number and the surrounding associations, we begin to see that the title elder is not a light, casual, or merely honorary. It is a position that can reveal wisdom, but it can also expose danger when the one bearing the title is not governed by Yahweh. This is why the gematria must not be handled as decoration, but as a mirror. If the number and the meaning lead the mind towards hunter, possession, damages, injury, or loss, then the student must recognize a hidden warning. An elder who is not purified can become a hunter of souls instead of a shepherd of souls. He may gather people to himself instead of gathering them to Yahweh. He may treat the people as possessions instead of as living children of the covenant. He may cause injury through false doctrine, pride, bribes, favoritism, or misuse of influence. Therefore, the title elder must always be tested by the law, the fruits in the spirit, and the obedience of the one who claims it. This may be shocking to hear, but it is a necessary truth. Yahweh repeatedly warns his children about false prophets, corrupt judges, unjust weights, bribes, and leaders who devour the people. The danger does not begin when a man openly rejects the law. It begins when a man uses the language of the law while secretly serving his own appetite. A false elder can quote truth while bending judgment. He can speak of holiness while arranging influence for himself. He can sit among the people as a teacher while quietly training them to depend on his personality more than the commandment of Yahweh. For this reason, discernment is part of the covenant survival. A true judge is not merely a person who occupies an office, gives opinion, or settles disputes according to human feelings. A judge is one who actively seeks the law of Yahweh and rises to the aid of the people when they fall away from the path. He does not flatter rebellion. He does not excuse confusion, nor does he decorate disobedience with soft words. He steers the people back to our everlasting King, Yahweh, by making the law visible, understandable, and practical. His judgments is not rooted in ego, anger, tradition, or favoritism. It is rooted in the covenant order, righteousness, and fear of Yahweh. Such a judge carries the spirit of many righteous examples. He has the Nehemiah spirit of leadership, rebuilding a broken walls while refusing to be distracted by enemies. He has Joshua ben Nun, bravery, standing firm in the commandments without sugarcoating the law. He has Gideon's obedience, doing exactly what Yahweh commands, nothing more, nothing less. He has Moses' meekness, understanding that authority without humility becomes rebellion in disguise. He has Samson's strength, not merely physical strength, but the strength to resist compromise and bear the burden of deliverance when Yahweh assigns it. Therefore, the elder who becomes a judge must be examined by a higher measure. Does he restore order to create dependency? Does he point to the people? Does he point the people to Yahweh or to himself? Does he correct sin with mercy and firmness? Or does he excuse sin when it benefits him? Does he protect the weak, or does he prey upon those who lack understanding? These questions reveal whether the elder is functioning as a servant of the throne or as a hunter under a sacred title. Being an elder carries heavenly responsibilities and an earthly obligation to sacrifice for the people. The elder sees his people as himself and himself as his people. Their wounds matter to him. Their ignorance concerns him. Their growth becomes part of his labor. Their correction becomes part of his burden. He follows the law vigorously, hides pride from himself, and keeps the mind of the people daily in the remembrance of Yahweh. He is not an owner of the flock. He is a steward under the king. In this way, elder becomes a synonymous, sorry about that. In this way, elder becomes synonymous with senator, not in the shallow sense of politics, but in the deeper sense of statesmanship. And a statesman is a person who exhibits wisdom and ability in directing the affairs of government, as well as dealing with the important public issues. Likewise, the true elder must know how to govern speech, judgment, conflict, instruction, resources, family order, community order, and spiritual responsibility. He must be able to deliberate without corruption and speak without vanity, without and lead without becoming intoxicated by rank. The abstract hidden knowledge in Zakin therefore teaches both honor and caution. The elder is supposed to be mature, established, and experienced, capable of carrying the people's concern before Yahweh. Yet, the same title, when corrupted, can become a cloak for greed, injury, possession, and spiritual hunting. This is why the people must not be impressed by titles alone. They must look for the evidence of law, humility, sacrifice, sound judgment, clean hands, and a mind governed by Yahweh. The true elders does not merely sit above the people, he descends into responsibility so that the people may ascend in righteousness. Thus, the deeper lesson in this eldership is not proven by age, vocabulary, clothing, public recognition, or even religious confidence. Eldership is proven by covenant fruit. If the elder gathers, he must gather to Yahweh. If he teaches, he must teach the law. If he judges, he must judge without bribes. If he leads, he must lead as one who will answer before the heavenly court. Only then does the title elder become what it was intended to be, a living witness of wisdom, government, sacrifice, and divine accountability. Religion is a sore spot for billions of people who all believe they are serving the true God or gods, all who swear they know the Lord or lords. But do they really? What is religion? How long have the people received false doctrine, keeping them in their generations in an endless cynical loop of spiritual depression? Well, let us define religion and get a better understanding of the word, and then look at the Torah to see what Yahweh has to say about it. Religion. It is a set of beliefs concerning the cause, nature, or purpose of the universe, especially when considered as the creation of the superhuman agency or agencies, usually involving devotional and ritual observations, and often contain a moral code governing the conduct of human affairs. A specific fundamental set of beliefs and practices generally agreed upon by a number of persons or sets. The body of persons adhering to a particular set of beliefs and practices. Now that we see that the underlying structure of religion, let's begin by comparing what a cult consists of and receive a shock to our system and understanding how the devil plan was actually meant to be a mental and spiritual war from the beginning. He understood the psychology of the spirit, that it tends to search for the creator of its existence or try to find the event of their creation. So he foretold us his plan in Isaiah chapter 14, verse 13 through 14. And it reads as follows: For thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of Yahweh, and I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. This is talking about North America. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds, the nation of Yahweh, whose appearances are white raiment, as a representation of clouds, with the Son of Man, Yahweh ben Yahweh, being the creator of the organization, existing as the center of the balance of righteousness as a scale. Just how the sun is the center of our universe, the sun, S-U-N, is synonymous as well as a homonym of S-O-N, the sun. Praise Yahweh. So we are getting down to this, family. As we see, his entire plan all along was to become like Yahweh himself and be the one praised. But his tactics deals with people being tricked into praising him. So he camouflages his scheme with false historian documentations, recordings of theories which are subjective only and not objective existences at all, but are pushed as reality, in a plethora of choices to choose from, and cause natural separation. His wicked device divided the people while causing wars, racism, and classes of society that operates by greed to keep seeing each other for usury. And when we look at Revelation chapter 12, verse 9, it states that the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceived the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels, his messengers, were cast out with him. Now, this same pattern is confirmed in John chapter 8, verse 44, which identifies the devil as a liar and murderer from the beginning, In 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 4, reads as where the God of this world is shown blinding the minds from the light of the truth. Therefore, the division amongst the people are not accidental, but in 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 10 calls for the brethren to speak the same thing and have no division, while James chapter 3, verse 14 through 16 reveals that envy and strife produces confusion and evil works. By him creating religion, it causes envy and strife, confusion, because everyone is swearing that they're praising the true God, but they never look up the origins of their religion because they are being led by a guru, by a pastor, by some kind of rabbi, by some kind of this, by some kind of that, and they never look it up. We are told that envy and strife produces confusion. Wow. Proverbs chapter 6, verse 16 through 19, further condemns the proud, the lying tongue, and the hands that shed innocent blood, and one who sows discord among brethren. Likewise, Micah chapter 2, verse 1 through 2, Amos chapter 8, verse 4 through 6, Jeremiah chapter 5, verse 26 to 29, and Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 6 through 12, exposes the greed, oppression, unjust gain, and corrupted rule that devours the poor and pervert judgment. Leviticus chapter 25, verse 35 to 37, as well with Psalm chapter 15, verse 5, witnesses that Yahweh condemns usury among his people. Now, it said in Revelation chapter 12, verse 9, his angels was kicked out with them, right? Now, angels in the Greek concordance is G32, which implicates pastors, messengers, a drove or herd, and a primary verb properly to lead, by implication to bring and to drive and continue to lead away by induction. And this is why there are so many religions, because these religions are charged with induction. Induction means magnetism. It draws you in. You may get drawn in because of the community of the church. And you think that's good. You may get drawn in because of the dress of that culture. But it's still wrong. You may get drawn in because this pastor is really good at touching your emotions, making it feel like the word is talking to you. But he's leading you astray, as it states, leads away. John chapter 8, verse 44, ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh of a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. Praise Yahweh. I mean, this is things that we need to hear. Did you know that in Proverbs chapter 6, verse 16 states, these 6 things Yahweh hates, and the 7th is an abomination, which is a proud look, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, the divisiveness of wickedness of imagination, feet that be swift in running to mischief, a false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among brethren. These listed scriptures explain the hidden sublime work of religion perfectly. They go around with lying tongues, telling you and telling everyone that they know the real name of God, and they give you these false names. And their appearances of the Messiah, they give you false paintings, false doctrines, as well as they altered history. And this has caused wars for thousands of years between the families and friends of the earth. They cause wars amongst neighboring countries. And this framework shines the light on this very potently and clear. The altered, they altered the high holy days of Yahweh, and they caused the children of Yahweh to follow these deception days and abandon our true culture by extinguishing our connection to our natural born inheritance of the Bible and right to rulership. Religion has always been compared to cultic behavior, seeing how they both mean the same definition. Cult is a particular system of religious worship, especially with reference to its rites, ceremonies, and an instance of great veneration of persons, ideals, or things, especially as manifested by a body of admirers, a group or sect bound together by veneration of the same thing, person, or ideal. But now, what is important to understand about the word cult is people are only programmed to think of cult and that it's only tied to religion, which is a false statement. As stated, it is a gathering of admirers with a veneration of people or ideals and things, which in the broader sense is actually an umbrella for everything in society. In the wider view, it is only seen when you looking at the synonyms of cult, which contains words like band, church, clique, body, creed, faction, following, party, persuasion, and school. So we really need to understand something here. So we'll define a few of these words to get a better understanding of culture of both religion and culture of society as a whole. Band, which is a company of persons or sometimes animals or things joining or acting or functioning together like an aggregation, party, or troop. The job force is a group of people that come together in a company, right? They join themselves together with one consent of actions to either repair something or sell you something. That's the cult. And they all say, oh, our company's culture is this. Culture is two words, it's a conjunction. It's cult and then er. Er is an action verb. And then cult is what you taking in. What do you believe in? What do you admire? What do you support? What do you not support? All of these things goes into what society is. It is a division of nomadic tribes, a group of individuals who move or camp together, subsist by hunting and gathering. Your community, the communities we stay in, is a cult. You want, if you're rich, you stay in rich communities. If you're poor, you stay in the poor communities. If you're middle class, you stay in the middle class communities. Same thing. Even making it into a more macro level, dealing with nationalities. Cult. That's why it's called the culture. The Native American culture, the Hebrew Israelite culture, the Latino culture, the Asian culture. It's a huge umbrella, but it goes with philosophy. What do you believe in? And what do you believe in? Is it true? Is it backed on a body of evidence? Or is it something that was man made to consist of manipulating the people and the future generations to believe one something in order for the 1% to stay ruling over the world? A clan is a group of people of common descent, family, a group of people as a clique, set, society, or party, especially as united by some common trait, characteristics, or interest. The clique is a small exclusive group of people, right? An example like like the 1%ers who actually own the countries and bend society to their benefit. What is the creed you believe in? Which is any system of doctrine or formula of religious belief, as of denomination, any system of codifications or beliefs, of opinions, authoritativeness, formulated statements, the chief article of the Christian beliefs, or maybe the Apostle Creed, maybe the Council of Nicene Creed, maybe the Athanasians Creed. What factions deals with a group, clique within a large group, a party of government, of organization, or the like, which is typically having the different opinions and interests than the larger group. A faction in favor of big business rivals the faction within the company. And this is what they do. The government pretends to be divided, but it's really divided to divide the people. Oh, you Democrat? Oh, I'm Republican. Oh, I'm this. Oh, I'm that. Oh, I'm this. But it's all under the same umbrella to cause distraction and to cause disruption and to cause usury amongst the people. While they'll take our coins, take our freedoms, and give you blind hope of freedom. It's all a game. And we need to wake up to this. Factions. That's what it is. Its followings is defined by a body of followers, attendants, and adherents. The body of admirers. You like music? That's a cult. What's your favorite artist? What's your favorite genre? You like movies? What's your favorite movies? That's a cult. You like shoes? What's your favorite shoe company? That's a cult. You like clothes? What's your favorite brand? That's a cult because you have a body of admirers that like the same thing. So we all have been programmed to think that cults are people hiding in the woods who will harm themselves at a moment's notice because of the leader's words and commandments. But a cult is everything that is society, and society is everything that is a cult. But it all falls down to, what are you doing? Is it righteousness or is it immorality? Is it truth or is it false? What is the end game for you? And this is why we need to look out for these false prophets, these false teachers out here, because they'll have your head all wrapped up thinking that you're serving the one true God, but really you're serving their bellies. And their bellies is destruction, as it states in the Bible. Let's go ahead and turn to it. I don't want y'all to think I'm lying to you, because it's in here. Praise Yahweh. We just getting to it. We just calling y'all attention to it. You may not have never heard this before, and that's okay. That's why I'm here to help you find it. Praise Yahweh. You're gonna find it for you. I want to say Philippians chapter 3. I'm gonna go ahead and find that for you. Give me 1 second. Philippians 3:19. No, I don't think that's it. Who end is destruction, who God is their belly. Philippians chapter 3, verse 19. Whose end is destruction, whose God is their belly, whose glory is their shame, who mind earthly things. And this is what we need to be cautious about. This is why the word culture matters. In some degree, everyone is connected to a form of a cult like influence. Yet people are often programmed to think of a cult as a hidden group in the woods. That narrow image is misleading, and the greater reality is that society itself can function as the largest cult, shaping beliefs, behaviors, and values through the culture it creates. And this is why it's important to be able to recognize a teacher from Yahweh who is truthful, genuinely about his people, and being under the complete and perfect law of Yahweh. That is a self sufficient nation, with all members of the nation being blessed and having everlasting sustenance of wealth, and not a wolf in sheep clothing trying to trick people into following them, into becoming like the rulers and only successors of wealth, leading all who follow such riotous teaching straight to hell. By furthering our understanding of the importance of identifying the trick of religion into a full perspective, we'll look at Yahweh's words that's written in Isaiah chapter 44, verse 9 through 11, as well as verse 13. They that make a graven image are all of them vanity, and their delectable things shall not profit. And they are their own witnesses. They see not nor know, that they may be ashamed. Who have formed a god or molten a graven image that is profitable for nothing. Behold, all his fellows shall be ashamed, and the workmen, they are of man. Let them all be gathered together, and let them stand up. Yet they shall fear, and they shall be ashamed together. The carpenter stretches out his rule. He marks it out with a line, and he fitteth it with plans, and he maketh it out with a compass, and he makes it after the figure of a man, according to the beauty of a man, that it may remain in the house. You know what? Let's also look at verse 15 of Isaiah chapter 44. Then shall it be for a man to burn, for he will take thereof and warm himself. Yea, he kindleth it, and baketh bread. Yea, he maketh a god, and worships it. He makes it a graven image, and falleth down thereto. And this is also verified again in 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 29, where it is stated plainly, again, every nation made gods of their own, and put them in the house of the high places. This is what religion has been since its clever creation by the devil, to try to get the world praising him and not the true and living creator Yahweh. Again, when you look at 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 4, it tells us, in whom the God of this world have blinded the minds of them which believe not. Let's go ahead and examine the Christianity of the historical claim that they try to say Christianity was created in Judea during the time of Yeshua. But when you look deeper into history and you examine that claim that Christianity was created by the Messiah in Judah and served as the religion of the nation of Israel, this claim has been repeated for generations. But it must be tested against both scripture and historical context. The Hebrews did not receive a religion from Yahweh. They received laws to govern conduct, dietary instruction to preserve health, commandments concerning bodily cleanliness and order. These principles are found throughout the Bible, as in Leviticus chapter 11, as well as cleanliness dealing with Leviticus chapter 15, but never a religion. The Hebrews did not receive a religion from Yahweh. These principles are found throughout the Bible and were given as a covenant way of life, not as a man-made religion system. Christianity, by contrast, developed as the main body connected to the Catholic Church, which arose under the influence of the Holy Roman Empire. During the first century, Rome ruled over the land of Israel. Actually, I want to say from about 301 BCE under Ptolemy II Philadelphus, who took the Torah as well as 70 Hebrew leaders put them on the islands of Kos, Greece, Rome, and made them translate the Bible into the Greek, which is called the Septuagint Bible, which is the first transliteration of the Hebrew text. And that was at 301 BCE. And then Pompey conquered all of Israel by the 63rd BCE. Oh, yes. And this is historically proven. So Rome created the Holy Roman Empire as Catholicism. And when you look up Christianity, it tells you it's the main body of the Catholic Church. So by Pompey conquering all of Jerusalem by the 63rd BCE, and the Messiah, as they say, quote unquote, was born in the first CE century, Christianity was already ruling over the land because the Romans was in power over the Israelites from 63rd BCE all the way until 70 CE when they burned it down. This is why we get clues looking at the historical setting of John chapter 19 verse 12, where Pilate sought to release Yeshua ben Yosef, but the accusers warned him, saying this. They said, anyone who made himself king spoke against Caesar. Although the text uses the word Jews, there is no J in Hebrew language. And considering that the Hebrews were under Roman rule and persecution, it's difficult to believe that they held such a close allegiance to Caesar in Rome that they would freely threaten Pilate on his behalf. The historical setting of Yeshua ben Yosef must be examined carefully. He was born while the Romans ruled over Israel, near the transition to the first century. This creates a series of questions. 4. Religious doctrine that claims he completed the full Messianic deliverance of Israel at that time. Now, according to common historical dating, he was killed in the spring between 30 and 33 CE. Yet Jerusalem remained under Roman rule. In fact, 37 to 40 years later, the Roman legions under Titus crushed Jerusalem and destroyed the Second Temple in 70 CE. If Roman power still ruled the land after his death, then the question must be asked, who was delivered? What rulership was overthrown? When were the people restored to the authority over their land? When John chapter 11 verse 51 and 52 states that he shall die for that nation only who was scattered abroad, talking about the great diaspora. And seeing how the Messiah is from the tribe of Judah, as stated in Hebrews chapter 7 verse 14, as well as 1 Corinthians chapter 28 verse 4, if he was born in Bethlehem, then that means Judah was still in Bethlehem, Jerusalem. So who did he restore? Who did he bring back when he was killed? Judah was still in the land of Jerusalem. So he could not have been the one. But that's why he tells you in John 16:13, I have many things to say, but I can't tell you yet. But when he comes, the Spirit of truth, he will lead you into all truth. He is talking about someone else. He didn't say when I come back. He said when he comes, he will be the Spirit of truth. And this is Yeshua saying this. Because he was not the one. Everybody was still in Jerusalem. Who did he deliver? Who did he save? And this raises another question about the prophecy. In Acts chapter 7, verse 6, Stephen, who was on trial, and Acts chapter 6, verse 5, noted this: Abraham's seed being strangers in a foreign land and serving in bondage for 400 years. So then that means that the prophecy of Genesis 15, verse 13 through 14 never happened. Now, when you look at Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68, talks about how Yahweh is going to send his people into Egypt again by ship. But people try to say, oh, they're talking about physical Egypt. Well, when you look at, again, the historical context and the timelines, it tells you that they was only really in bondage and hard bondage for about 115 to 140 years. Because when Joseph died at 110, his grandson, Mitzrayim, They walked in to Egypt. So if they walked in, and then Moses was born about 120 years later after that, as they say in the historical doctrine of the Bible Hub history context, where it pinpoints everything to actual history, and then it states that from the time he was born, about 40 years previous to that, they entered into hard bondage, and then he came at 79 to actually cause the Exodus to occur. Then Israel was only in bondage for 115 to 140 years. That's not 400 years. And then the land of Cush was known to them. It was known to them. So it says that there will be strangers in the land that is not known to them. But when you look at America, America got pyramids and speaks. The George Washington Monument is the obelisk that's up there in Egypt. And Illinois, they have a city called Cairo, Illinois, which is they call it Little Egypt. You have a Cairo, Egypt that looks exactly the same as Cairo, Illinois. That's why they called it the Delta region of America, because it looks just like Cairo. On the back of your American dollar, there's a pyramid. You have a city called Memphis in both Egypt and in America. And both Memphises got pyramids right off the waters. And Revelation chapter 11, verse 8 states that the Messiah should be crucified in a spiritual place called Sodom in Egypt. So Yeshua was killed in Jerusalem. And Jerusalem was never called Sodom, nor was it called Egypt. So Yeshua, as he states, he has many things to say, but he couldn't say it then because it wasn't time. But when you look at history and you look at the Bible and you look at the placements and you compare the similarities, then you should be able to tell plainly that the Hebrews of today that was prophesied to being in a land for 400 years, which they only teach that black people was in bondage for 400 years in any place on the planet, with slave names, as it states in Isaiah 65:15, that our name should be changed into the names of the heathen as a curse. In that in Isaiah chapter 83, verse 4, that they should make the name Israel no more be in remembrance. And as it states in Lamentations chapter 4, verse 8, that that their visage is blacker than a coal, and that they are not known in the street. In Revelation chapter 2, verse 9 and 3, verse 9 says, I know that their works that say that they are Jews, but are not, for they do lie, but are the synagogue of Satan. And that they were put in power by the American government in 1948, made a state by the American government in 1948. Then we have to conclude something here. Somebody's lying. And when you look at history and you look at the Bible and you remove all of your emotions, but you just look at the facts as a historicist exegesis, a person that makes it proves itself without thwarting the scriptures to fit your emotional need, then you will come to the point where you will admit Yahweh is God, and the black people that they stole from Africa when they fled here, as it states in Joel chapter 3, verse 3 through 6, where it said that we will be sold to the Grecians. Who are the Grecians? The Romans. The Romans, the Italian, the Spanish, they came here in 1555. Their first settlements were set up in Jericho, South Carolina in 1524, and in Florida in 1555. So that's going to be this class here, today. I thank you all for listening. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, stay studied up, and we'll be back with more information at another time. May Yahweh bless you. May Yahweh be Yahweh bless you. Know that I love you and I see you as myself, and myself I see you as me. I love my people, and we shall be free. Praise Yahweh.